Hi everyone, this is Allison Feening here, and this is Monday Mental Health, First Responder Mental Health Wellness. So today we're going to talk about Mental Health 101, and this is going to be part 1 of the series. So what is mental health? So mental health is a little bit different than mental illness. So when you think of mental health, what do you think of? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a not so good thing? What do you think of when you hear of mental health? So write some notes down for this as well. So grab a pen and we're going to talk about mental health, and we're going to debunk some myths tonight. And again, this is going to be part 1. So mental health. Mental health is your general state of well-being and the state of mind that you're in. It's something that should never be looked over, okay? We really need to look into our mental health, right? Because our physical health is really important, so is our mental health. Mental illness is something that disrupts your mental health, disrupts your mental state, and interrupts how you feel, think, communicate, and behave, okay? So mental health versus mental illness. So mental health also includes your emotional, your psychological, which is your cognitive and behavioral state, and your social well-being. All right, all of this is incorporated in mental health. So when you come and see somebody for mental health or behavioral health, right, it's really all of these. It's how you're emotionally feeling, how you're psychologically feeling, how you're socially doing in situations and around people. And you may say, but I don't go around people. Well, let's talk about that, right? So let me give you some statistics. Every year, 1 in 5 people have a problem with mental illness or mental injury. Blah, blah, if I can talk. Mental injury, all right? 1 in 3 people, so 1 in 3 of you will experience a mental health injury or illness in your lifetime. So I know I'm part of that. I'm part of that statistic. I know several of you on this are also part of that statistic. All right? So if we think about our mental health of how our mind is, it affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act. So just like if we were to get the flu, if we feel really shitty, right, it's going to affect so much about our day. It's going to affect so much on how we talk to people, how we snap at people, what we say to somebody, if we go to work or not, right? It's going to affect so much of that. It determines how we handle stress, how we relate to others, the choices that we make. So it's important at every stage of life, our mental health and what we do about it. Because how we treat someone in their mental health at 3 years old, like my 3-nager right now, may be different on how we treat somebody at 30 years old. Now, we both may act similar at times, but we may treat them differently. So I want to talk about if you were to see somebody or want to make the call to help with your mental health or what you want to do. So there's a few options for you. So you can always just go to your primary care provider, your general practitioner, or whatever you call them, and you can say, look, I want to talk about my mental health. First, you always have to rule out medical issues before mental health. So make sure you have no seizure disorders, make sure you have no diabetes, make sure you've got no neurological concerns. And you could say, great, well, I don't have that. You can always still go talk to somebody first, that's fine. So you decide you want to talk to somebody. You can do a life coach, you can do a peer support mentor, you can find a therapist in your area. You can contact me. I can help you find a therapist, or you can, again, contact me. And what we normally do is we work on what areas of those emotional, psychological, social well-being areas are affecting you right now. And we think of what of those key areas are affecting you in a way that you don't really like. And then we take a deeper look and ways you want to grow those areas. So with mental health, and if you were to go to somebody and you quote unquote were to be diagnosed, you have to be diagnosed by somebody that is a medical professional or has been trained to be diagnosed. So you're either going to go to somebody with an MD or somebody that has a license in therapy, social work, or counselor. Okay, there's all different types of licensures that today on this part series I'm not going to go over, but I'm going to go over on part 2. So make sure to watch for that. But everyone that has been trained in diagnosing for therapy has this awesome book that we've had to all learn. And it's called the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. And this is our Bible. This is our ICD codes, basically. This is what we have to go through, and all my fancy things here, to quote unquote make sure somebody meets criteria. So if you have the flu, you have XYZ symptoms to match the flu to get a diagnosis. I don't take diagnosing lightly. It is very important, because if I were to see somebody the first time and diagnose them with what I would call a diagnosis that they feel is labeling, or they feel is not accurate, then it's not going to help your progress. So what I personally look at is what you're experiencing. What are you having trouble with in your life? What are the symptoms? What areas of your life are they impacting? And how long has that been happening? And so it's important when you go talk to somebody is to reflect on, how long have you been feeling down? How long have you been drinking that much? How long have you been feeling that hopeless? How long have you been that worried? Now, if you've been able to still function and go to work and do all these things, please let them know that. But if those things are causing you a rise in tension, a rise in inability to function like you once used to, and you want to get back to where you used to get back to, tell them that. Because that is a way to develop some goals for yourself, to start to have better mental health. Make sense? So it's really not all that scary. It's really about what you want. And at the end of the day, we all want to feel better. And doesn't have to be horrible. I know there's some of you out there that have been to a therapist or have talked to somebody or a crisis de-escalation and have been told to basically suck it up. And I'm sorry if that's happened. And I would hope that you give it another shot. So this is part 1 of the series. If you have questions, I'm going to answer them now. Again, this is just part 1, and the next will be part 2. So your mental health is a little different than mental illness. Mental illness is driven from the old phrase that you are sick or disorder. What I'm talking about today is your mental well-being, your mental state of, your well-being and their state of mind. And I know that we all have the opportunity to change that. So let's do that together. And I'm here if you're wanting to take that journey. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.